Welcome to This Organized Life. If you're a mom, wife, or coffee lover seeking advice on how to reduce clutter and reclaim time, look no further than your host, Lori Palau, founder of Simply Be Organized and author of Hot Mess, a practical guide to getting organized. For a lot of people, clutter is their dirty little secret, but it doesn't have to be. Each week, we will share practical tips, chat with experts, and provide strategies on how to keep you organized. I hope that by sharing our stories, you feel a little less alone and more empowered to tackle the areas that are holding you back. So let's get started.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of This Organized Life. I'm your host, Lori Palau, and I'm so happy that you're here. The time of this recording, it's May, the end of May, and we are prepping for all things summer. Real quick, before I bring out today's guest, I just want to remind you that tomorrow is our Clutter Clinic Kitchen Workshop. I'm not sure if there's going to be tickets available, but head on over to our website if you are interested, simplybeorganized.com. Click on the workshops tab. And the beauty of this is if you miss the live workshop, you can still purchase the replay. So if kitchens are an area that stress you out and you want to learn some practical strategies, my favorite products, things of that nature with regard to kitchen organizing, this is a fun interactive workshop. Again, if you're able to join us live, and if you are listening to this post-recording of the workshop, not to worry, we will be publishing the replay and you can also access it there. So just visit simplybeorganized.com/workshops and you will go to all the things. Okay, now back to today's guest. If you've been listening, I've been bringing on, and I have a couple more coming, of my favorite organizers that I've asked to join me as co-host for some episodes of the show. And the reason why is because they are fun. They are smart. They are knowledgeable in a real life, practical sense of what everyday folks are looking for, regardless of your price, budget, season of life. And they're just fun to chat with. And you guys love them because every time I have them on my show, my ratings go way up. So selfishly, I love having these guys on my show. And without further ado, I'm going to welcome my good friend, Lisa Eckerle, back to the show. Lisa, come on out.
This is the Price is Right.
It is. I
do $1.
$1. There we go.
Always $1. February.
Hi. Now, I feel like everybody knows you, but we may have some new folks who don't know who you are. So tell everybody a little bit about your business and then give us a little insight into who you are personally.
So I own the Designer Organizer. It's an organizing company in Carmel, Indiana, which is just outside of Indianapolis. So all of you East Coast people right now, go Pacers.
Josh was at the game. Wait, Josh was at the game.
Is he crying?
I don't know. I haven't spoken to him. He was more like, he was more fangirling over all the celebrities that were there.
Jimmy Fallon did a thing where he was like, these are all the celebrities in New York and all the celebrities in Indianapolis. It's like Mike Pence and his family.
Stop. I was going to say, I don't mean this in any way, but who are the Indiana?
And our local weather guy.
Stop it.
He had, yeah. We have Caitlin Clark, so that beats all of your people.
You know what? That does. That, say no more. Anyway,
anyway, business. Fun fact, though, I used to do advertising for the Pacers. So there we go. I used to be in advertising for, 15 to 20 years. And then I started my own company in 2019. It used to be called Sort Support. If any of you ever heard of that, and if any of you ever have questions about changing your business name in the middle of everything, I have stories. So I've been doing this since then. I offer basically 3 lines of service through my company. So it's in-home organizing, closet space design, and then what I call organizational consulting. I don't know.
I'm here for it. Yeah.
Okay. Made it up. But anyway, it's basically if someone's building or renovating, I look at their plans before anything gets finalized to make sure that it works for their actual content that they own. And I do this for kitchen mostly, it seems, but just make sure that their stuff actually fits in what will be there and that it will flow and function for them. So I have employees now.
You're such a big
100%.
girl. I knew
I
Lisa
know, and they're not
Eckerle.
contractors, organizers out there. They are not contractors. Made them employees, so that was the big deal. Yes, but yesterday, geez, last year. Feels like yesterday. I have 2 kids. Today they are in 1st and 3rd, and tomorrow they will be in 2nd and 4th. So
Your kids are.
they were way littler when smaller.
Yes, they were smaller
younger.
and tinier and all
Yes,
the things when we
started this.
when we first met. Yes, Lisa
Yeah.
and I go way back. She was not an OG, but an early adopter of the SBO partner program.
I was there during your startup years.
No, you were not. You were there in the toddler years, not infancy. You
All
were
right,
there-
but
you
I'll
were there
take
in the toddler
toddler.
years. And I've had a front row seat into watching Lisa's, not only her children grow, but her business grow. And let me tell you, she's a rock star. All things very smart, savvy business strategy, in addition to a great design and organizational talent. So anybody that has the opportunity to work with you is very fortunate.
I'll tell them you told them so.
Please do. Please do.
Thank-
But I wanted to invite you on the show today, as I mentioned in my intro, not just because you're my friend and I enjoy having friends as co-hosts, but we get so many questions from people that want to hear behind the scenes. They ask a lot of questions about people in the industry, right? They want to know what's going on behind the curtain. They want to know where you struggle, because I think there's this feeling out there that people who are struggling with clutter or disorganization, I'm the only one. I'm the only one that feels this way. And even though we might know on a logical level, like, no, there are other people that are struggling, we often feel like we're the only one. And there's this misconception that if you're an organizer, you're always organized, and you're organized in every single aspect of your life. And we have many conversations, both in a professional setting and then off the cuff, about, no, we're real people too. And we go through different seasons of lives, and you're in it right now with young kids, juggling a business, all the things. So I just kind of want to open it up for you to just riff off of that. There's not so much of a question there, but just laying the groundwork of just disputing any of those myths that are out there.
Yeah, I'm a hot mess, just as me and everyone listening to this is. I just play an organizer on TV, if you will. Now, it's hard. The thing that I struggle with most is, honestly, it's not necessarily calendar clutter, because I know how to say no, and I don't have FOMO, I have JOMO, so I don't really, that doesn't bother me, but it's the to-do list clutter of what I know, what I have to do. How do I organize it to actually get it done on a daily basis? First time ever, I used to make fun of everyone having paper planners. Lo and behold, I now have a paper planner.
You do? You've regressed to it? You've regressed to a paper?
Okay, no, let's not go that far. I still have everything digitally. I have my calendar digitally. I have my to-do list digitally. That part I am really good at, of keeping I don't miss the to-do. I know what I have to do. It's just trying to figure out in my day exactly which ones I'm going to tackle that day, which ones can hold off until another day or another week, and figuring out how. That's why I did the paper planner, because the to-do list on my digital, I thought everything all the time. On my paper planner, I just go day by day. I now have a routine where I sit in my living room in the morning, and this is when the kids are in school. So they get up, they get ready, we sit in the living room. I would like to say as a family, and then you have this beautiful picture of us just sitting there being like, oh my God, what are you going to do today? No, we're all on our phone. Terrible. Or watching Sports Center right now. So anyway, I take that time though and sit there and look at my digital calendar or digital to-do list and put it down on paper. These are the only, I try to do top 3 things that I'm going to do today. And then I have a running list that's on a different page that I can flip back and forth. But I'm only trying to concentrate on those 3 things. And then I also have a dumping ground. I made my own planner. So not made it. Good Lord, I'm not a crafty person at all. But you can personalize your own on a website. Anyway, I made a side column that said, get blank out of my head. My kids find it hilarious every time they see it open and read it. But it's like a brain dump. I get my top 3. And then in the most important section, there are two important sections. One I have, what am I going to stop work to do today?
Ooh.
So instead of trying to work through the whole day that I've always done, my husband made fun of me one time because he was working from home with me. I did not get out of my chair for 6 hours.
I have the Apple Watch and it says it's time to stand and it'll go
Yeah,
off.
and I just say,
Yeah.
just now.
Yeah.
Don't care. I tried Alexa notifications. Like every 2 hours, they would tell me to get up. And then I tried to have it like 2 minutes after that say, no, really get up. And I just
Still.
stop, ignore. Anyway, so I have this list now of what am I going to stop work to do? So sometimes laundry, sometimes it's putting away clothes, sometimes it's just like rest, sit outside, go for a walk.
So can I ask you a question? So do you feel that this top 3, like once it's on paper, it gives you a different level of accountability? I'm curious about what's the mindset shift from transferring it over to then allowing you to just hold yourself accountable to making that execution piece.
I will admit, the first day I used it, the top 3, I wrote down 4 and accomplished none of them. Oh, really didn't work at first. But over the time, so I started it February this year. So it took me a little bit because I was writing down the wrong things. I was writing down stuff that would take me like 3 days to do. So I needed to break that down. So instead of just saying design closet, because that's what I kept writing down, I couldn't do it all in one day because of stuff that came up and details I had to look up and all that stuff. So I had to write down then get the dimensions or answer this question that I needed. And then I could sit down in one day and get it done. But I was looking at too big of stuff to write down for one day.
I think, and as you're talking, and now I'm like writing down notes as you're talking, it's just, that's no different than when a parent says to their child, go up and clean your room, which is overwhelming, somewhat ambiguous, versus the efficiency of saying, I want you to go up and I want you to put your clothes in the hamper, or I want you to put your books back on the shelf. You're giving a very specific action. And I think in your case, giving yourself a very specific directive allowed you to say, yes, this is doable. I can do this, as opposed to knowing that you have this big daunting task and I'm just gonna, if I can't do it all, or I don't know where to begin, or whatever the fill in the blank is, I'm just gonna avoid it altogether.
Yeah. I'm completely an all or nothing person. I have realized, like, either sit down and do it from beginning to end and don't get up for 6 hours. I ignore it. Don't do it all. So I had to break it down into, I forget that phrase. I have the tiger. It's not get horse in the head. No, frog. Eat the frog. Eat the frog.
Eat an elephant one bite at a time.
No, there's a whole gym about it, and I think it's eat the frog. Where you're supposed to do the hard stuff that you don't want to do first, like in the morning.
I've never heard that expression.
Yeah, I'll look it up. There's a gym that's called, I think it's eat the frog.
Okay, I'm looking it up, but keep talking. I'm looking it up.
So the idea of it's like basically don't procrastinate. If you do the hard thing first, then the rest of your day you can have time to get the rest of your to-do list done, or do the fun stuff, or do the stuff that you already have passion about or that comes easily to you, that can be done later in the day. Because otherwise you just start doing all of those that are easy to check off or tiny little to-dos that we have, especially as business owners, like invoices or looking at your numbers and stuff like that, where it's just tedious stuff. So do the non-tedious stuff first, because then you eat the frog. I don't know what or where that came from, but
Now I feel like it's going to be all over because we've put it out there. So now everywhere I turn, I'm going to say it.
Like a whole gym has the name. But anyway, I had to learn how to do that. I would see this big thing on my to-do list, design a whole closet, kitchen, everything. And I would be like, nope, I can do these 10 smaller tasks because I'm just procrastinating to do the thing that takes me longer to do that I have to think, concentrate on. So eat the frog in the morning and then do the rest of the stuff. So when I'm making my to-do list, I'm thinking of what am I eating today as the frog.
I love it. I think that's great. So a lot of times I was actually going to talk about this on an episode next week, but I decided, hey, I think having you sit here and join me, since you are a mom of school-age kids, is going to be more relevant than me sitting here reminiscing about the days when my kids were home on summer break.
The days of yore.
This for a lot of people, summer elicits a lot of different emotions for people. Some people are like super excited because they're like, yay, we're kicking into summer. We can take things down a notch. And I know that there's a whole other slew of people. And I fell into this camp where it was a little bit stress inducing, especially as a business owner, trying to figure out, because like you said, you're able to do certain tasks in your day while your kids are at school. That gives you an opportunity, even though there's a craziness of getting kids off to school and home from the bus and school lunches and all that stuff. Now going, okay, our whole routine's disrupted, and that doesn't just impact our home dynamic, but as a business owner, that does impact how I'm running my business and how, the attention I'm able to give and when I'm able to see clients and all of these other things. Talk to me a little bit about your personal experience and kind of how you guys are navigating that.
So my kids go to camps. Lighting that to my daughter the first year when she was kindergarten. She was like, well, I don't want to sleep outside. I was like, no, it's a day camp.
She was like, literally like, I'm camping.
Yeah. She was like, I don't want to sleep outside and I don't want to be gone for a week. And I'm like, no, okay, we need a different word for that.
Oh my God.
But anyway, my kids go to camp. So last year was the first summer where they were both at camp, because the summer before that, my son was still in daycare. So I learned very quickly from last year that you have to put the work in to schedule your summer. Honestly, around here, we have to do it in February.
I was going to say January. I was going to say
February. Yeah, because the major camp program that we like to go into, you have to register by March 1st, and it's, hard to get into. So you have to do it right away. So I am asking people in February, hey, I know you talked about wanting to go up to Michigan with us. What day? And they're like, we haven't, it's snowing. Yeah. So we have to plan early, but last year I made the mistake of asking the kids, what camps do you want to go to? Knowing I have a boy and a girl, and they are very different personalities, people, interests, all that stuff. So one wanted to go to this camp, one wanted to go to that one. So I was trying to be nice, mom. Also felt guilty that they had to go to camp most of the weeks of the summer. So I was like, let's make this as enjoyable on them as possible, and they get to pick their own camps. So did that. Didn't pay attention to time and location. So we had one had to be there at 8 across town, then the other one at 9 this side of town. And then they got picked up at 3 and then 6, or we didn't give them that long. They could have. But anyway, we were driving all over town at all times. And then it was from like 9 to 3, which during the school year, my kids go to after school programs. So I don't stop work when the bus comes home because our bus comes at 2:30 already. And I'm at clients, like I can't always get out of there on time. So the 9 to 3 is disruptive for us. So this year I really had to sit down and ask the kids what they wanted to do, but also I'm like, you're going to have fun no matter where you go.
Mm-hmm.
But we planned it that it's better time and they're going either to the same place every time or like right around the corner from each other, which was huge because now I don't have to be on the road as much going everywhere and trying to keep all those times in my head because that's brain clutter completely.
It is such brain clutter. And as you were talking, I have a visceral reaction. Like I can remember driving one kid to one camp, one kid to another camp. And sometimes it was just logistics based on their age. Zoe was at a camp that you had to be 10 and up, and Logan was 7 or whatever the situation was. And yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot for the parent that is responsible. And in my world, it was me and a lot of my friends, it was the moms, and really figuring out all of the moving parts adds a whole other layer to your already crazy, chaotic life.
Yeah.
And
I remember last summer a couple of times being at clients' houses and I'd be like, oh my God, I have to go get my kid at camp. You can't be more than 10 minutes late. They will not let you come the next day. And I remember like pulling into this camp. It was 3:09. And I was like, oh my God, I made it. The kids got in and they were like, you were the last one here. And I just turned around. I'm like, you're lucky I'm here at all. You almost got left here.
Yeah, don't worry. That'll come back to you in about 15 years. They'll be telling their therapist that, but it's all good.
No, it's fine.
It's all good.
They were amongst friends still because there were people coming for like gymnastics and ninja after that and stuff. But I was like, it's not like you were sitting on the side of the curb. Get over it.
And I think as moms, we joke about it, but I do think that there's this level of you're trying to please everybody, right? You want to be dedicated and give your work 100%, and you're trying to be the best present mom that you can be, and you're trying to do all of the things. And it really is impossible to sustainably keep all those juggling balls in the air.
Honestly, so I have a different perspective than most moms with that because I am super lucky that I married a guy who helps probably honestly more than I do. We're doing like that's what we were just doing this morning is saying, okay, I can do pick up this day, you do drop off this day. Like we share those responsibilities a ton. And we found neighbors that are going to the same camp. We actually made a spreadsheet. I made a spreadsheet in February with our neighbors and shared it with them and said, this is where our kids are going to camp. Please sign up accordingly for when your kids can go with us. So we're carpooling with them. My husband takes so much responsibility for stuff. That brings me a different kind of guilt. I think it's not the mom guilt that I'm trying to do it all and be the default parent, I think people call it. Like, I don't have that problem. My husband helps so much. I then have the problem of I don't want him doing more. Like, I want it to be even. So I keep trying to be like, okay, if you're going to do 3 pickups, then I got to do 3 pickups. And then it's a math game that no one needs to play, but I apparently do. And that kind of guilt of
luckily you want to make sure that you're pulling your fair weight, so to speak.
Pulling fair weight and then remembering, because if you're doing it all, it's easy to remember 9 to 3 every day. I have to remember, oh, I have this pickup and that drop off, and then I have to put it in my calendar, and then I have to put 3 notifications on it for me to stop working and remember to go do it. And that has it's a good layer that you have to add in there, but it's also like, I was at the client, like, oh, I have pickup today. I forgot it was this day. I don't have it tomorrow, but I have it today. So
curious,
that helps a lot.
I appreciate you walking us through that. I think that's really helpful because I think when we talk about real life, this is how we do it in our home, it paints a picture for people that might be listening and going, I don't really know if I'm doing it right, air quote, or this is how we're doing it. I can't see another way. And hearing other people's experiences really help. Now, your kids are starting to get to the age where, as rising second and fourth graders, they can take on a little bit more household responsibilities, chores, if you will. We've done episodes before about using the summer time to really ramp that up or use that as a stepping stone period to get the kids to be more involved in the organization, routines, and chores in the house. How do you guys handle that? Is that something that you incorporate in? Is it something that?
Yeah, so I mean, we were a little slow to the boat here, but February was like a good month, I guess. In February, we started family meetings. I actually probably stole this from a client. She used to do it weekly, and I was like, we're going to do it quarterly to begin with. But we sat down and we started telling the kids, like, look, you've had it nice. Now it's time to not have it as nice. So we laid down device rules. We laid down what happens if you don't go by the device rules. And then we laid out chores. I have it written in my planner. And then I know this is bad for a podcast, but I have where those
Or on YouTube. People could be watching this on YouTube.
So I just got like this checklist
Uh-huh.
of chores. The filled out one, it's like a post-it thing. So we can put it on our refrigerator, but the filled out one has like the name of who's in charge of it. And I tried to make it, you're going to laugh. I tried to make it child appropriate, or age appropriate, I should say. They do the same stuff, but they have to sort their laundry every Sunday into the hang up clothes and the drying clothes, or the clothes that dry hanging up, and of course I can go in the dryer.
Got it.
And then their socks and underwear. So they separate their clothes that way. They're in charge. My husband, they're in charge of putting their clothes away. And I was like, no, veto, because I want to make sure everything's folded correctly and put in nicely, because I know they won't do that. And then if I have to go in there, I'll lose my crap. And no, we're not. That's a control freak issue of me. I will get rid of that eventually as they get older, but now it's not a thing. So they have to separate their socks and underwear because we like do it all together. I also had to get rid of a control freak thing because my son doesn't care to match his socks now, and he just throws them all in his drawer. Luckily, he has a little divided bin for his socks, but he throws them all in there, and then every day he wears mismatched socks. So as part of this new routine, I let that go because now I don't have to sit there and match all these darn socks.
That's great.
Yeah. So they do that, and then they have to empty the dishwasher. We said on the weekends only, because frankly, my husband gets up at 4:30 in the morning and unloads the dishwasher, and that's his routine. So he didn't take it away from him. So they do that on the weekends. I'm trying to remember other stuff. They honestly keep their rooms clean throughout the week, so we don't really have that as an issue. What was the other one? I can't remember now. Oh, we did do this may be an idea for people. So I got sick of the kids. Like we're saying, like no more device time. We're done with that. Then this is exactly how my son says it. We make fun of him all the time. He just goes around and going, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And I got really sick of hearing it. So we each kid gets a drawer in our playroom. I don't know if you really call it that, but each kid gets a drawer and a basket. And every Sunday or Monday, they have to go through the house and gather stuff that they would want to do that week. So games they would want to play, card game stuff, crafts, books, anything. Jenga was one the other week. They have to put it in that drawer. So when they're constantly saying, I don't know what to do, I can say, go look in your drawer. Pull something out of there, because then it gets rid of the decision fatigue, because I don't like toys being out right now. When they were younger, yes. Now, no. We're past the toys everywhere stage. So I like them hidden. But what I found is that the kids literally would never go over to the cabinet and open the door to see what was behind it. They would just sit in the living room. I don't know what to do. I'm like, it's okay to be bored. So just sit there and figure it out. But I was sick of having to like tell them, let's open this cabinet and see what's behind there. So anyway, having the drawer and the basket that they know this is their curated stuff that they picked very recently to do. And now they don't have to look at 12 games and 3 different crafts and figure out what they want to do. It's just, here's one, go.
I love that. I love that because it takes the decision fatigue away from you and from them. They don't have to think about
And
it.
it keeps it fresh.
Yeah.
So like every Sunday, get that stuff out and put new stuff in. So like every week they have a new toy, if you will.
I love it. I think that's a great tip. Before we wrap things up, because we have to wrap up this conversation, I know you had a question that you got a question from one of your followers on Instagram had asked a question. And I thought we could wrap up today's episode by reading it and going from there. So why don't you pull that up and share?
So she just asked, how do you deal with hoarding tendencies or the psych aspect of decluttering? And to me, I wish people would quit calling themselves hoarders, quit putting that negative feeling on yourself, because you're not. Most of you. Like, hoarding's a clinical thing. It literally lets you not live your day-to-day life in a healthy environment. Like, that is the extreme. Quit putting yourself in that and putting that label on yourself, because you're not. You're just a regular person that can't deal with too many objects every single day. So quit saying you're a hoarder. You just have a problem of a collection.
Yeah.
And also, everyone's allowed to have at least one, maybe 2. Collection is something that you like. Everyone thinks that when us organizers come into your house, we're just going to make you get rid of it all. I always like to find out. Like, I don't ask right away because people won't always know. But through the decluttering process, they're like, I think I really like purses. And this is my thing. And I'm not getting rid of them. I'm like, okay, that's your one category. You get it. Then you can't claim you also love belts or something. So I try to help them through that. Let's find your one category. And that is what you can hoard, with air quote, that we're not saying anymore. So anyway, that's a mentality thing. The psych of decluttering, that, and I know I've talked about it on your podcast before, but I have a decluttering phrase. It's get rid of your CRAP, and it stands for anything cheap, repetitive, aggravating, or past its prime. Since we're almost out of time, I won't go through all of that. People can go back to your old episode and listen to it. But it helps you look at things from just a very easy way, because a lot of organizers will say you want to keep the stuff you use, love, need. And that, to me, I feel is harder, because you're like, I love everything. I use everything, even though you realize you haven't used something in 6 months, but you don't want to admit that. So if you look at it from the other way, you're like, okay, is this cheap? Meaning it is terrible quality. Why do you have it in your life? You're better than that. It itches anyway every time you wear it. R is repetitive. You have too many of the one thing. Aggravating, it just annoys the crap out of you every time you use it or see it, or it brings back a bad memory. Usually it's of an ex-boyfriend or ex-husband or ex-mother-in-law or current mother-in-law sometimes. And then past its prime is has holes in it. It no longer fits. Let's be okay with that kind of stuff. So I think if you look at it from that perspective, like, that's an easy yes or no. Does this aggravate you? Yes, every time. Is this of terrible quality? Yes. So it's an easier way to look at it.
I love it. Thank you so much. Lisa, I know that this is your last day of
Freedom.
I was going to say it, and then I was like, that just sounds so harsh. Before your summer routine starts to kick in, I really appreciate you carving out time to come and share a little behind the curtain.
It was almost the only day I was going to have a quiet house. So here you go.
Here we go. I'm glad we were able to take advantage of it. Obviously, we'll link to it in our show notes, but just shout out to our listeners where people can follow you, find you if they live in the Carmel, Indiana area and want to work with you.
No, don't.
Not Carmel?
Yeah, it's Carmel. You have to
Carmel?
Indianize it.
Oh, Carmel.
So
Sorry.
Carmel,
Indiana. Okay, sorry.
not
If they
Carmel.
live in the Carmel, Indiana area, if they live in your neck of the woods, they
There we
can
go.
work.
Near Indianapolis.
Yes.
There we go.
Go ahead. You have the floor. Tell everyone where they can find you.
Oh, yes. Website, thedesignerorganizer.com. And then it's at that everywhere on Instagram. I claim I'm on Facebook, but
Awesome.
it's just a copy pasted Instagram.
It's okay.
There you go.
It's all good. Lisa, thank you so much. It's always fun chatting
Thank
with
you.
you. And
I
hear
know
what's
this was
going on.
short. I can't believe we did it.
I know. Listen, we got to get in, we got to get out, we got to get the people moving. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back next week with another episode. Until then, I'm Lori Palau. Peace out. Thanks for tuning in. If you like this episode, please spread the love and share it with your friends. And if this is your first time joining us, make sure to click the subscribe button wherever you are listening so you never miss an episode. And while you're there, please leave us a review so other people know that our show is worth the listen. You can also find us on YouTube and Instagram at This Organized Life Podcast. And if you'd like to connect with us, you can head on over to our website at simply the letter B like boy organized.com, which is filled with tons of resources, including free downloads, checklists, links to our amazing organizing partners, and all of our digital offerings. I'll see you next week for another episode of This Organized Life.